right.
Let's see this.
Then we're already recording at this point. Anyone wants to do the intro?
Don't look at me. I'm the guest.
Hey.
You guys should be doing this.
I have an idea. Since today is Dom's birthday,
Oh no!
it'll be a nice idea, you know?
I didn't sign for this.
What? I forgot, which podcast is this? It's the sixth one.
Maybe, yeah.
I can't remember the episodes, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we
Is
made
it
the
the
last
seventh?
episode. Anyway, this is like the
Okay,
first
so-
time we have a guest on the show. So today we have Glenn.
Hey.
And well, Dom, do you really want to do it or?
You guys can do it. I'm like,
Yeah?
yeah. Just can go ahead.
What are you
All
doing?
right. Just give me a second.
Guess. Probably gonna do our intro in a bit.
Don't worry, man. It's always like this, okay?
Yeah, it's.
I've watched 2 or 3. I think the first one, second one, third one. So, you know, it's a matter of getting used.
I mean,
to it.
like the beforehand. I mean, like it's not always like click on, switch streamer mode and video making mode, and it's always like casual, so you
Yeah,
don't have to
it-
like.
I already told you. I think this is just like a conversation, right? So,
right.
by the
right.
way,
Yeah, I mean, I watched it.
I should have asked this earlier, but how do I pronounce your surname? Is this Driel or
Just try it. Do it.
Glenn van
Do
Driel?
it. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
this is as close as you. It's probably as close as a non-Dutch person would get. So perfect.
Or
But
I should
I'm
say
fine with
Glenn,
everything.
Glenn van Driel or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's even closer. Yeah. Dutch
Yeah,
is just weird. It's Glenn van Driel. So yeah,
okay.
really close.
All right.
Real.
Need that.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it
I'm
sounds
gonna try-
fancy in other languages, but in Holland, I mean, in Dutch, it's just it's a lame surname, but it's a name. So yeah, I'm Glenn. You want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm Glenn. I'm a concept artist currently working for Guerrilla Games in Amsterdam, which people might know of by Killzone, Horizon Zero Dawn, and the recently announced Forbidden West. Now, this is the moment where you'd list other studios as well, but I don't have any. I'm just a young artist. I have done my internship at Guerrilla Games, finished my school, and then got hired back. So honestly, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I don't have that much experience outside of Guerrilla. Barely any outside of Guerrilla, a little bit of freelance, but that's about it. So, I'm just a guy, and I draw things, and I'm a concept artist, and I hope to survive for a while like that.
Freaking
Yeah, man,
cool.
it's really
dude.
nice because, yeah, I get to see like your whole journey. I don't know how much time you've been doing this, like pursuing this career, or how
Ooh, that's a
how
good
you
question.
got into it. You know.
That's a good question. I've always been drawing. That's what they always say. Ever since I could hold a pencil, I was drawing. You know, that's what everyone says. But it was true. I mean, I was always drawing. And I had let's just say, a pretty easy time on, how do you say this? Is it grade school? I think it's grade school, right? When you're like 8 till 12 or something like that, 6 to 12. I don't know. Depends on the country.
Maybe exactly. Yeah. Probably
yeah.
depends.
And because I was having such an easy time, it was basically just drawing all the time because I had time left, right? But that was just that. I was just always drawing things I saw, usually animals, stuff like that. And, you know, parents and family and other people would say, why don't you think of something yourself to draw? And I'm like, no. Up until a point where I was doing high school. And near the end of high school, I found out that concept art was a thing. Can't remember what the first thing was that I saw of it. It might have been a Scott Robertson video, honestly. It's a very good chance. A lot of people got introduced to it. Either that or Feng Zhu, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's for you guys, but it's probably one of the two if it's around the same age period as me.
Yeah, relatable.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
actually,
yeah.
I discovered it with Mark Brunet. He was the first guy that I knew of concept art.
That's, what's his name? Cube Brush?
QBrush,
QBrush.
yeah.
QBrush,
Big Mac, sexy girl to the side, done.
Long arms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been up to. Yeah, I think it was, for me, it was like Scott Robertson, FZD, Mark Brunet, and what's his name? He always used to say Big Shape first because he couldn't pronounce shape. I'm not making fun of that, but it was like something that stuck with me and my friends for a while. Xia Taptara?
Chia Taptara?
that
Yeah,
the name?
exactly.
I think, I don't know
I
what he's
draw-
doing right now.
Oh,
That
I
was
haven't
that was
watched it.
that was I
So-
Draw Girls back then, right?
oh
Right.
yeah.
Yes. So I think those were the first 4 I ever started watching. I haven't seen any stuff from them for a long time.
Yeah, same. Also,
well, maybe Scott Robertson.
Cykra was another one. Another
Yes,
big-
yes, but he was
Cypher
like
was
the
G1,
funny guy. He was the funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah,
Well,
those
for
kind
me-
of guys.
For me, it was FZD, like in terms of concept art, not digital painting. But when I first knew about concept art, it was through the whole design cinema thing on YouTube, and from there on, it just scaled up like crazy.
Right. Yeah. At
Started-
that point, you needed to start like convincing your parents that this is an actual career path.
Oh man, don't get me started on that.
No. I think now I've
That's-
been working at Guerrilla for
Mhm.
more than a year under contract, and they've seen like that I actually make money. Now they're starting to be like, oh wait, maybe this is a thing. Maybe it
Sounds
was
like they
right all
need-
these years.
It's almost like they need proof, right? Like until you don't
Yeah.
prove it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can understand it as well, right? It's not like our job is something that's out there. Like even us, we
You
have
don't
to
think
find
about
it
it, right?
on the internet. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like at least if you have a year contract and you are working on at a company, like that's more proof to them. But try to
Yeah.
convince them being a freelancer. Like I think that
Yeah, something
That's
worked. I think the
a
first
bit
time I
like-
told them like, "Hey, I made a bit of money with like doing art," and they were like, "Yeah, sure you did." And I'm like, "Come on." But yeah, so yeah, I started watching that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I gotta draw." So I started drawing, and then I looked at like schools, after high school. I found one in the Netherlands, the HKU. I do not recommend for at least my direction.
But it was like
the
specialized in concept art, or it was more
game art.
towards.
They said it was
Okay.
called game art. And you had like 4 directions. The first year it was just like whatever, you take every direction, and afterward you specialize,
Mhm.
and then you specialize more. And they were always advertising like, "Hey, look at these awesome concept artists, people that studied here." They used Loish as a poster child because she was at the HKU, just
Wow.
not this faction of it. So it was a lie
Yeah.
anyway, because she did animation. It's like a completely different building and everything, like whatever.
Marketing
used it.
works
That's how they
in
get you.
secret ways.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I quickly found out like, hey, I got conned. No, not conned. I was like, no, this is not what I expected of it. Let's just say like that.
Mhm.
I could rant about the HKU for hours. I'm not going to do it here. But at one point, I think like this random third year sent me a message on Facebook like, hey, we do a weekly sketch night in a nearby city, a nearby town. We just kind of like drink and sketch and have fun and whatever, and just like work on shit together. If you ever want to come by, here you go. It's like, let me do that. I'm really glad I did that. The guy that invited me was called Tom, and then I met another guy called Adrian, and Tom and Adrian were much further ahead in the actual concept art learning, and they were experienced with the shenanigans that the HKU threw at them, so we kind of bonded. And then I found out that Tom was doing an internship
Making
at
those
Guerrilla, and at that
connections.
point- yeah. And at that
Yeah,
point, I found
that
out that
networking.
Guerrilla was a Dutch studio. I didn't know beforehand. That's really bad. I know.
Mhm.
I know. It's really
That's
dumb.
not bad, man. Like I know nothing about any studio out there.
No, but this was
Neither
like
do I.
the only big thing that the Netherlands had, and I was serious about being a concept artist, and it's like I felt bad for knowing it and not knowing it. And then like I saw their art, and I was like, shit, I need to work so much harder. From that point onward, I knew, all right, I'm gonna have a year, and by then I gotta get an internship. So I want to go for Guerrilla because now I know it's possible. So with their help, I just worked my ass off for a year, and I got an internship, and I got to stay longer. I got to do a project. They wanted to keep me anyway. I had to go back to school to finish that. Reluctantly did that, and now I work there. And Tom and Adrian are my colleagues. So that's
Wow.
how I got here.
That's networking at its best, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
and
I was
that's
so
about all I did,
happy
actually.
the day I saw you were just starting as an intern. And imagine like the day you got to stay, at the company. Like I saw.
Oh my God,
I think
so
we
happy.
met for the first time. It was
think
back
we met-
in Croatia, right?
Yes, I
2017.
think we met 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, probably at some other event as well. I mean, we sure
Playgrounds.
met at the one in Playgrounds. Yeah, exactly. The same year, I think it was.
Is
I'm
that
not
just
sure.
an art meetup event?
Yeah,
Or
it's a pretty new one, art event in Eindhoven, which is well, I mean, is it Eindhoven? Yes, in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, whatever, a city. And it got really big, really fast, mostly due to their connections with Spiridon, the guy that makes art books, really cool art books for
Yeah.
everyone, and gets all the Kickstarters going. And I think
Firestarter.
through Firestarter, through IFCC, so as well. And it grew really fast. I think we just had a digital version of it because of COVID. And they had Kim Jong-gi was there, and a lot of big names. So it's really nice to see a small Dutch thing like that blow up instantly.
Yeah, watching the online version, like you can imagine how the actual event is like, and honestly, like all of these online events that are happening, it's not the same, Like I really miss
Something.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah,
Dude,
it's
it
like,
was
it's good to see the information, but
it was becoming for me like a habit to collect those books of Firestarter, because at every event they would bring like a new one.
As well.
And this time is like not the same thing, I
Yeah.
don't get to have like a physical copy.
Right, I love just going through it and see the portraits of the people. It's like, hey, I know that guy. I know that girl.
Yeah, right. So, dude, was it really, really different for you to work during the whole situation this year? Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm still home. Probably gonna be working from home for a while. It was a big switch in the beginning in terms of getting things in my little room here. Mostly it went pretty fast. I'm really impressed by Guerrilla's speed of just they had it all prepared. It was ridiculous, and just a lot of extra nice things for people working there. You get like compensation for your electricity at home and stuff like that. It's like, that's so nice. Like a lot of other companies won't do that, even if they can.
Yeah.
So I'd say, hands down.
So in terms of the switch, communication and all that, how did they handle it? Did you see like a great change, or
I think they doubled down on communication, and they're really, really trying to monitor. And they say it maybe a little bit too much, but rather too much than too little. Like asking how people are doing. Are you still holding up at home? Would you like to talk to someone? Because they they got people ready to, like, professionals to talk to you if you're having trouble with the work from home stuff. Because in the beginning, it was just 2 months of sitting at home, not going outside. And me, a gamer, I was like, I can do this.
This is easy.
And then
right?
after 1 month, and after 1 month, I was like, no, okay, this is getting shitty.
Yeah.
Because
it's different, right?
Because like,
when you like,
how it is for you guys?
Sorry?
Yeah, when you can't leave home, like it's different from like I can, but I just won't because I want to play games. That's like completely different mindset.
Yeah.
So I guess like you just stop enjoying what you actually did enjoy of staying at home. But being a freelancer, like I was always working from home, So like that aspect of turning the mindset of work on and being focused on all of that was already there. It's just like dealing with the whole bad situation going out there, and being thankful that like with people losing jobs and stuff like that, just the fact that you could keep yours and like keep working. I guess I had to attach myself to that thought, right?
Our field is one of the only few fields that are blessed with this happening. I think it's positive for the industry.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So
work anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, right? And I mean, not only can we work anywhere, it's everyone's sitting at home. What are you going to do at home? Watch Netflix, play board games, play video games. That's about it. Well, probably more things, but that's what people do.
Endless options and endless possibilities, right? It's practically impossible to get bored. But for me, it wasn't really that different when it first started. Like I was already working from home, so it didn't change anything really, despite the whole crazy things on the news and everything, and how everything was affecting like the local markets and everything, like people fighting over food and stealing toilet paper and all that stuff.
Ridiculous. I even saw it happen here.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, this is not America. No offense.
Yeah, but anyway,
It's all good.
besides that was like just ordinary regular life. And yeah, I was basically interested in that because it must have been like such a different experience from being used to work. You did work at the office, right? You worked in house, so this great kind of disruptive change. I was worried in case it might have felt like slower or in terms of communication, right? Because it definitely changes a lot, I guess, to be in there physically with the whole team and everything, to get that instant feedback than to have to kind of go ahead.
Adapt to that. It's double, right? Because on one hand, everyone's glued to their PC. You can send them a message. So on that point, like communication is sometimes much more effective or fast or whatever. And there's still Zoom calls, or Slack calls, whatever, and it works. But on the other hand, someone doesn't want to respond or someone's getting swamped, it's really easy to just not reply to a message. That's not saying that's a bad thing. That just happens. Like it's easier to lose a message or lose something like that and forget about something than it is when I'm in studio. I need to get something from another team, and something I was just doing, getting used to as of late before we moved in was just going like, fuck it, I don't want to wait. I'll go over there,
Right.
Because we kind of needed someone like that at the moment, and now that is that part of just I'll just walk over there and communicate with them in real life, that is definitely lacking, and that does make things less clear at times. So it's very mixed for me.
I'm finding that. Okay, go ahead.
No, one last thing, sorry. What I noticed is it was really easy for me, which is a bad thing, that when I'm done working and I'm laying on my couch and I see like a message coming in from work, that I still go and do things. And I know, no, I'm done. I should stop. And that's dangerous. I don't know how you guys had that, but Andre, go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that I wanted to make. It's harder to leave work when you're doing that. And also like the communication has to be very, very clear because it's through text. You don't have like voice tone, you don't have expressions, you don't have anything. And even on Zoom calls, right? When I first started doing those, I had to get a webcam, man. Like it was impossible to do that without one, because when you are listening to somebody, like you look at those faces and you see that they are understanding something or that they are like in doubt, or you get something back, right? And dude, when I was working at a studio, like I was with my programmer like sitting behind me. I could just turn and ask him something,
Right.
And that instant feedback of what I can do or what I cannot do. It was a small indie studio, so it was a very close relationship. And I guess that's honestly the best part of working in-house. So it's right now it seems that people that work in-house, they have a more similar experience to what freelance life is like, other than the studio. Although like you get like everybody in there, but it must be a strange change because, as you said, like you were not as experienced with freelance things. So I don't know how was that, because it seemed to me that you are a very outgoing person, like you went to those sketch nights and you met people there, and
I forced myself.
No, man, that's a good thing. Like most artists are not there, like quite like that, and it's hard for them to make connections. And it seems like you strive with those connections,
Yes, like for me it worked out, so it would be like dumb not to do it now. So I try to force myself. I also I teach students sometimes, and that's like one of the first things I tell them when they go, I don't know how to network. Are you able to talk to people? Yes. All right. Can you drink beer? Yes. Now, can you drink beer while you're talking to people? Yes. Congratulations. You can network. It's it is that
special
like
requirements.
yes.
I'll teach you how to draw while doing those, and you'll be set.
It's like, I mean, it's a very simplified thing, but it
Yeah.
is that simple. You know, it is kind of that simple. But getting to that point is of course hard. But yeah, right now that is troublesome. Definitely for a lot of students that were just in the moment where they needed to go do those things. I think that right now is tricky because what are you gonna do? Talk on the Twitch chat of playgrounds to random people spamming emojis.
You just go up to them and say, "Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Blah blah blah."
Too hard.
That's
Yeah,
simple.
I understand like how they feel because we don't have as many of those events in here, and things are not like as close, right? So I had the only event that I went was here in Brazil. I had to travel like 12 hours to get there.
12
And-
hours.
Yeah, like
The
I left in the
price.
morning or I like the night before of the event. It was a bus ride, right? If I went through plane, it would be way faster. But like I got the ticket like last minute, and and like I just had to go. They gave me the ticket, so I was like, well, thank you a lot. It was a very expensive thing, but I knew the people, so they like kind of helped me out with the ticket, and I just like did everything that was possible to do that. And dude, if I had one of those like every 6 months, oh man, like that's so inspiring, so motivating, you know, to be around people that are like-minded.
Exactly.
And-
Exactly.
Like
I think
the moment you're
go
traveling, maybe like the last day of something like that, like around 4 o'clock, and you know, okay, we got a few more hours left, few more speakers, but you get like kind of angry that you can't be at a PC drawing right now, you know, because you got so inspired. Just like I gotta draw now.
it's a constant
Yeah.
feeling, you know, that I could relate to while attending to those kind of events. It's like that urge you feel, you know, the urge to manifest this energy that you feel by, you know, getting so motivated by those at those talks. And dude, I just believe that this is one of the best investments artists can do, you know, to just attend those kind of events and go there, be physically surrounded by that people and talk to as much people as you can, you know, not necessarily compulsively, you know, like
No.
I'm gonna talk
I've
to
seen
as many
people that
people
do
as I can. Yeah, like I'm gonna miss out on that one. No, he's leaving. But
You take what you can get.
exactly, yeah.
That sounds really sad. Kind of wanted to talk to
Just-
that person, but I'll take this one instead.
We tend to value more quality over quantity, but sometimes, you know, there's like this speaker who you don't want to miss out on talking to, and whenever you catch him or her available, you try to it becomes like an awkward situation, you know, because you don't know how to stop this conversation to just go talk to them about that thing you wanted to say or something. So it's definitely like,
Tell them I'm gonna go get beer.
yeah, right, it comes down to to this,
You're seeing a pattern here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know, like you might need to look out for help, you know, if every solution is beer. But
Oh, is it already this? I should be drinking beer right now. I'm just kidding.
oh, what do you think I have here? You know, like it's not coffee at all.
Beer?
It's fine. I'm gonna
It's wine.
bring to that green bottle over there in a bit. But yeah, but I know what you mean. Like just breaking off a conversation is maybe just as hard as getting it started. At the beginning, I was definitely not that good at it. I was very socially inept, let's just say, and not very strong socially a while ago, before I got into this. And I kind of, you have to force yourself to start doing it, and then you'll get better at it. It's just a matter of doing
it's
it.
just experience, right?
Yes.
This is not
And-
an artist
and also-
thing, it's everybody's thing, you know.
Yeah. Some people are
Yeah,
also wired to do it though. Like they're naturally super good at it, and it's great. Use it. Right?
Yeah, I find that
Probably.
like those people are just better at being themselves, you know, and like people that are socially inept are just overthinking stuff a lot. And when they get used to other people, like let's say that they have a friend that's a little bit like friends for a long time, it's easier for them to become themselves, and that becomes like way more natural and more easygoing.
Yeah. And you
But
gotta
also like
have that feeling.
another thing, on those events, man, it's not about talking only with the speakers. I found that the most important connections are the people around me, like the guy that's sitting next to me and that's sketching while the talk is going, and like he's sketching something that's awesome. I could be like just ignoring him and paying attention and glorifying like the speaker, but dude,
I completely agree. I think that's even more important because you got a lot of people that are like fanboying around speakers and whatever. And it's like, no, look right next to you to the guy that's drawing something. That's how I got to know most people, and like the rest, it'll happen naturally. Like, sure, if there's as you said, if there's one speaker there, you really go like, yeah, I really want to talk with this guy for a reason, whatever. Sure, do it, but don't be the groupie, right? That makes sense.
Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that kind of comes from a place of putting some pressure on yourself because you kind of paid for the event and everything the event brings to you, like the speakers, the great shows and everything. So you're kind of focused on that rather than on the people, the other mortals around you. But as you guys say, that's usually where you can get the most value from most of the time. It's the random connections that you just made. This random dude that just sat next to you, and turns out you've become friends, and maybe that generates possible future connections to jobs, or you just never know, So that's why I think it's important to be nice to everyone and try to be open, not really close yourself in the crowd, and not only limit yourself to only willing to focus on the big stars from the shows. And
it's the same with going to talks. Like sometimes you have like some downtime in between talks, so just go to someone you don't know, because there's a very good chance that you're gonna learn something new, learn someone new, or
that's so right.
Like, you don't have much to lose. If it's really not interesting, just walk outside. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't be the person who shoves the portfolio in someone's face.
I think like if first you make the connection, like at that point your portfolio becomes something that's secondary. It's my opinion.
It's a relationship first.
Everybody is like always, you should focus on your portfolio, and of course that's like the case if you want to get a job. But I would not approach like every interaction with other artists as if I wanted to get a job from them.
To be fair, when I went to IFCC, it was kind of the other way around almost. It was like you walk up to a table with people, because so for IFCC is very for people that don't know it, during the day you get like these pretty formal speeches, talks. You go there, you go this guy, and then around 5 or 6 everyone just with their little group goes and eats something, and then everyone returns to basically the same bar. That's how it used to be, at least, and then you just formalities out the window, just gone. And you just have fun. You talk to people. You drink whatever.
It's the magic of beer, bro.
Yes, and at that point, it was very much like you could, with your little group, you walk up to a bigger table with other people, and there's some spots free. It's like, hey, can we sit there? Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, beers. Just talking about just random small talk, and then you get to like art, and then you notice like you haven't even exchanged names yet, but you just kind of flow naturally into showing. Oh, what do you do? You got a portfolio there, show me your stuff, and they show you their art, and you go like, wait a minute, I know you, right? I think that was one of the funnest things I had.
Dude, exactly. That kind of becomes impossible at some point. Like, what was your name? Like it's too many people. You basically remember them by their work. Exactly. You remember them for their work rather than their names or even their faces. Sometimes just exactly what you mentioned. Like, wait a minute, you're this guy?
You're that guy.
Yeah, the Instagram handle or whatever you remember from him, like, yeah, you're the author of this work, and they're like, yeah, oh my God, I didn't even know what you looked like. Or, it happened to me as well with, it was Chair Bear Pig, I think, on Instagram. So it's this art director. Right. So I met him in person in LA, and I didn't know it was him. I just recognized it because of the work, and he was there just giving like free portfolio reviews and stuff. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're Chen Bear Pig on Instagram? And he's like, yeah. Like, dude, I had no idea who it was, right? Yeah.
I almost didn't recognize you, Adrian, for a second. When you walked up to me.
It's often. I feel bad about it. Someone comes up to me and is like, hey, you're glad. I'm just like, I am. Who are you? And it's like,
who am I?
It's just like, we met each other in the. It's like, I feel so sorry. and then they show the art, and then I go like, all right, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny how they come to you with your Instagram handle or something like that, first, if you
For
don't
me,
have
that's-
like your
that's
real
close.
name.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my case, that was what I did with Dom. I just saw him over there, and I said, "Hey, are you? I think your Instagram handle
Dual
back then was-
construct.
Yeah, exactly. Are you Dual Construct? By the way, I never
Like-
never said that name loud, so I kind of struggled first time. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, you're Adrian, right? Yeah." So yeah, this is how these
Yeah, I
things
guess
happen.
like I don't know. We are almost like all from the same generation of people from Instagram because like we get to meet each other around the same time, and
Same age
I'm finding that
also,
we're, yeah, I guess so. Like around the
Yeah,
the
in our
same
mid-20s. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
seems like nowadays it's harder to get to know people from Instagram as well. Like I guess
Yeah.
that's one of the points that why we are doing this, right? We met all of us through there, and to break that connection from being just the handle, from being an actual person, like especially nowadays. I don't know, man. I think it's completely different. People may say that you can create as good of a connection through internet, but I guess if you don't make that extra push, like to be there and to like get to actually know each other and have longer conversations and talk and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess that's where the true connections really are. Like as you said, hanging out with people, it's way more important than just like drawing beside of
Yeah.
them.
I mean, it's still important to be drawing, because that's also a lot of people. I mean, I teach a lot of students, and for most of them, it's just like, yeah, no, just do more, draw more. That also goes for me. That probably goes for you guys. It goes for everyone, but especially to students. Like, draw more. I need to
Yeah.
draw more. You need to draw more. So, yeah, but how do I? Just it doesn't matter. Just draw more. You'll get there. Mileage.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they just like feel insecure about it, so you have to give them that push
Yep.
a little bit.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why I love having my Instagram, man. I just point them to my Instagram and say, hey, if that guy like wasn't ashamed of his drawings, like look how bad they are.
Right,
You can
right.
do this.
I tell them to like scroll back to shit, like old stuff. It's like, yeah, just scroll back. You'll see. It's like I mean, it's still reasonably bad, but everyone starts somewhere, and some people grow in different ways and faster or slower or whatever than others. But you do got to put in the work, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that they only
That was on a.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Adrian.
Oh, I was just gonna make like a quick analogy using sports, because they usually see you like in your most recent shape, right? They never see you like sweating and all it took to get here. So they only see your most recent work and they think, wow, man, this guy is always good, right? I wonder where he started, right? He was always this good, or so it's exactly what you say, Glenn. It's like, scroll back, man. Just check my humble beginnings and you'll see, where this all
like
started
no one
from.
starts out good.
Exactly.
Well, and it's not true actually. Kim Jong-il did, but he got dropped on his head as a baby and
that's
then
like
got
a-
drawn superpowers. That's
that
different.
doesn't count. He's from a whole other planet or something.
We don't talk about this.
Let's talk about real
No, you
human
probably
beings, and
also
then we can.
Side team up,
Yeah.
Yes,
punch him in.
Yeah.
he probably also worked super hard.
So
I mean,
Dude,
I
that
was,
guy is drawing like all the time,
Yeah.
Like it seems like he never
Like,
stopped
automatically.
like that mentality of I need to improve. So that's a testament of what you can get if you never just like get comfortable, I think.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. Getting comfortable is a problem. You gotta have those wake up calls, and sometimes that's falling flat in your face really hard, and you need them as you start, definitely, but you need them every once in a while, I think, to keep you
Yeah.
from being.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
have that
wonder-
colleague walk up to you like, dude, gotta get your face out of the mud. You gotta work more.
I
Yeah.
wonder how old he is, by the way. He looks like he's in his early 40s or 50s, perhaps.
Yeah, something like
'cause
40s or
Can
50s.
Maybe,
Sometimes age is something that we tend to pay a lot of attention to, because we
Yeah.
tend to relate to that a lot. So when you see, let's say, amazing art, right? Stunning visuals. And it's like, hey, I'm 16. I'm an aspiring concept artist. And you're like, what? This guy is already like pumping out content that is high like world-class art, and
Look at Finian
you're like in your
McManus.
mid-20s. Yeah, well, he's like kind
Yeah.
of that kind of example, right?
Just a little bit older than us, right? And you can see what he's already doing. But he
Yeah.
I think
put in
he's
the work.
younger.
He put
He's
in
not
the
a little
work.
bit older, man. He's my age.
He's younger.
Wait,
He's
how old
like,
are you?
I am 26.
Oh, I
I thought he was younger than us.
I thought
I
he
thought
was
he was like 27.
24 or.
I'm 24. Then now I feel painful. Okay. Yeah, see, that's what it does. Yeah.
At this point, I have no idea. I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely young, right? And what I'm trying to say is that he look at the level of his stuff, you know, the quality that the work that he produces. That's what makes you wonder, like, man, I'm a little older than that. You know, what was I doing by his age? You know, what was my work looking like when I was that young? So it's always these questions, you know. And my point is that we all have like an individual journey, I guess. It's different, I guess, for each and every single one of us.
Yeah.
However, we choose to focus on that. And I think maybe social media has something to do with that kind of exposure
definitely.
that you get.
You see the good
Yeah.
stuff.
Sorry
You
to
know, like
interrupt
when
you,
you turn
Andre.
25, you just die, you know. Like,
Basically 27, you're at the prime of your life, so everything downhill from that. I mean, you might as well stop. Just,
yeah, of course, man. I mean, like, what's the point of pursuing anything after that, right? I'll just stop
It's
after my
over.
birthday. Like,
Dude, it's
No,
over.
man, I
Just
get
get
it.
over
It has-
You go into teaching. You go into teaching.
oh, I see. Yeah,
Right.
but so if you never made any good product until you were 27, then you have
Still-
nothing to put on your like teaching profile, so you get assigned to like lesser schools, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I said I wasn't going to say anything more about the HKU, but yes, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it does happen a lot that it's either people that have some really good experience to go into teaching and they do it because they like it. Those are the good teachers. They do it because they like it and they have the experience. And it's definitely easy, I think, in our field. That it's something of, well, I mean, now it's getting a little older, but a few years back it was super new and every country was like, oh yeah, game schools, concept art, games, yes. And they just appointed whoever the fuck they could find. And it was often a lot of people that don't really have any experience whatsoever. Like if I would be, I could get appointed at a fucking school with my very limited experience so far. And it would be complete bullshit, but it happens. And that's kind of sad. I heard it a lot from colleagues of mine, also mine age, that went to different art schools as well. And they all said the same things. Like, yeah, like out of the 10 teachers, 2 of them have actual significant industry experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's some terrible teachers at my school. There's one teacher who works at Obsidian, and there's like another one who was ex-Riot. So probably the only good 2 teachers there. And then like, I don't know if you know Marshall Vandruff at all.
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
that rings a
Okay.
bell, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
That is
But,
the guy that does the podcast with Proco, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so he was one of the.
Ring the
He's
bell.
the guy with the old
Teachers.
voice and
Yeah,
He's got an amazing voice. But yeah, there's just some teachers at school who just don't. They're like recent grads who've just been hired, but they don't have like any experience. You know.
Yeah,
And that's
that's sad.
terrible.
I mean, like the thing with that is they have technical knowledge, you know, like so maybe they could teach some starting stuff like fundamentals of, I don't know, 3D per se, I don't know.
Mhm.
But when it comes to actual applying that knowledge, I think that's where the experience really comes in hand, you know, because then they can teach you small little secrets that will actually make a difference.
Right.
And not secrets, like it's not that they are hiding it.
Yeah,
It's just like
little tidbits.
yeah, and I guess like that's what really makes a difference, and especially working in house. I guess you end up learning that a lot more, you know, because you have to work with the production and like that feedback of what worked and what didn't work and the reasons why is actually what makes in my opinion, right, differentiate someone that knows the fundamentals and knows how to paint a pretty picture and someone that does concept art and actually is designing for games and not only just painting for it, you know. I guess
And then you
that's
have people like
what-
me that never learned their fundamentals and just kind of got in because they can smooth talk and now I gotta change it. That works as well. I highly recommend. It works. Just don't get found out.
I mean, fundamentals are like they don't really age, right? For at least for 2D, but in terms of 3D, which is definitely an important component of game art in those schools, it's always better if the teachers are actively working in the industry, right? To be in touch with the latest tools and everything. So,
but as you put it, the thinking about design, that part. So I just mentioned I teach these kids. I teach some students my age and whatever, just very basic. And I tell them every time, like, hey, I don't have a lot of experience. I am not the greatest at fundamentals. Actually, my fundamentals are very bad. I'm not the one to teach you these actual fundamentals. You want to get some good lessons? You go to fucking
yeah, I get it.
CGMA course, right? You go get a CGMA course about.
You see how good he is at fundamentals and doesn't even know where to learn them.
Right. Something that I can tell you about, and that's something that a lot of these students I notice are missing, is just the thinking, the design fundamentals, the thinking, the why are you doing the way things, why are you doing things the way you're doing them? You know, thinking about form, thinking about function, thinking about those kind of things, like those are lacking so much, so much in what I've seen so far, right? As always, take it with a grain of salt. And I'm probably also not the best at it, but I can introduce them to it. And I can
exactly.
Tell, hey,
I mean, you teach them what you know so far, right?
Right. It's just like you got to get that step up. You got to get your thinking process going differently. You're not making an elf because you're like drawing elves. Well, that's also good, but then you're not doing concept art necessarily. It's like, all right, why does this guy look like this, right? What does he have there? Why is this chair formed this way? Those kind of things. And it's like, just the moment you show them that those little things can be seen everywhere, they start like getting it and they start applying it, and then it just starts snowballing. I believe it'll go automatically.
Yeah. That's actually a very good point, because it differentiates someone that wants to do actual concept art and people that want to do something more towards illustration, which is painting the like pretty pictures and stuff like that. And it divorces yourself from the idea. Yeah, like it's a fine balance, right? I'm not saying that like there's a right or wrong or there's a better career path. But I think that the concept art term was thrown around a lot, like as the goal of anyone that wants to be in art. And just happens that like some people don't want to do that, you know. Like if you just want to paint pretty pictures and like do something like fan art or paint things that are already there and not design actual objects. Maybe you want to design the shot. Exactly, go for it. And
but I mean, if I look at all of your art stations, and I'm gonna be able to point at my own as well. I'm gonna be able to point at I don't know, I'm just throwing something. Oh my god, 80% is what gives these students the wrong idea, right? Because it's like the pretty picture is nice, but it's about just scrolling down a little bit the sketches. That's the problem solving, right? You're doing concept art, solving problems. You're not necessarily making pretty pictures. It's also part of it. It's important. It's a balance. It sells your things. But that's
I think it's good to have like the pretty pictures, but like in the background you have that concept art knowledge, you know. So you have to have like
how to make those
you
images.
don't necessarily have to show it, but like you have the skills, like you have the chops.
So if you want to learn concept art, go for Glenn. He will not teach you how to draw, but he will teach you how to think. So
I'll be a motivational speaker most of all now. Now I can't do it, but you guys can do it. I don't know, but it is but that's the problem, right? We know that when we look at a really fancy, good-looking picture by name an artist, I don't care. We know that, and we look at it, and we could probably analyze, and we know, this guy thought about it. He made these things like this because he did that because that, blah, 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 blah. The student that is not introduced to this idea, sees it, goes, pretty picture, I want to make a pretty picture. Done. And I know because I did that as well. Still do it.
Yeah, it skips like the whole other process, that's behind the entire thing.
That's why I love like looking at sketches. I think you can learn so much by looking at someone pen sketches or like something that,
Oh man,
especially with traditional stuff, because they cannot undo it. So they tend to think a lot more about the lines they are putting on.
I love art
Like-
books that show the ugly sketches. That barely ever happens. But I
Yeah,
think the
exactly,
God of War
right? It's
art,
so rare. Because
Yeah.
those
Oh, I
artworks,
got one-
they usually feature the most beautiful
Right.
concept art, right? And they never
Yeah.
feature the ugly sketches, those things that are
Right.
pretty much
but
not.
I think it is changing a bit though. I
Mm-hmm.
had the God of War concept, the art book, whatever, from the latest God of War, and they actually show like gray boxed area blockouts, and I was like, oh my god, I've never seen this in an art book. That's amazing. I want to see
Yeah.
more of that. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I might just get that book because I got a book called Interlinked the Art. It's different from the Blade Runner 2049 art book. It's called actually Interlinked the Art of Blade Runner or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's actually only that. It's only concept art, and you can spot like a lot of mistakes is a way to say it, but I think it's more like lack of focus on those aspects.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like art, you can see a lot, but you can see the design process. And dude, I fell in love with that book. I mean, honestly.
Ugly meeting doodles, they're like, who drew this? A child, but it explains what they're gonna do, and like when you do that, later I'll actually make it nice, but this is just a little reminder for me to how to solve this problem.
Yeah,
You don't see those too often.
it
But
was
it-
actually a big thing for me to learn. Like a big step up when I found out that like the tools that people are always talking about, like Blender, it's the new shit, and you can do a bunch of things. Those are after the ideas there and the sketches there, and you can figure out a bunch of things in there. But like have the idea first, focus on that, have a cool idea, and like think about how you're going to execute, and then you start to focus on that other side, like of presentation and everything.
The why, I think the why is even earlier. Why is it that way?
Yeah.
What is it gonna solve or something?
I'd like to
Yeah.
add that sometimes those sketches also like provide you with this sense of self-confidence because you see those ugly sketches and they make you think, oh, I can do that, right? So because sometimes we kind of feel like every single step of the process has to be perfect and beautiful, right? Like you're really worried
should.
about the it should, it doesn't have
beat
to.
yourself up
It's
if you
not
want
meant
that.
to be seen by anyone else than yourself or people who are also interested in seeing the process, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like design docs, old design docs behind, for example, the machines of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? But then you look at the final product, and it's like, yeah, that was never meant to be seen by others. Like, trust me, there's some crazy shit. But it's great, right? And I wish we could show those things to newer people to give them that idea. I wish I would have seen that much earlier. I
Yeah.
think one of the things that my internship how do I say that in English? Basically, the internship lead. I'm just gonna call it like that.
Okay.
One of the first things, Lisa, she's a colleague now. She told me that, hey Glenn, you gotta draw more messy things. I want to see ugly sketches. And it's like, no, but I gotta make the line has to be no. And it's like, no, stop. I want to see ugly drawings. And that was one of the first things that I really needed to learn. And it was like a smack in the face. Like, no, make ugly things. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
but think.
I guess one of the things that I did in order to help out with that, like not getting too tight with stuff, was limiting. I use Clip Studio to sketch, right? And in there you can just limit how much you can zoom in into your painting. So I just like cut off everything that was above like 100% zoom, so I could just see my picture, right? And then I cannot get too tight because it's simply
smart.
blocking me out of that.
That's smart.
I get a huge tendency of like trying to get the perfect line when a good enough line it's already better because it's 10 times faster. So like you get that idea out faster, move on to the
Yeah.
next one, and
Simplicity is hard.
when you get
man.
to do like when you get to draw with that lines on, like the time's ticking, dude. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I'm notorious for like zooming into my 100% opacity lines and like erasing it along the edge, like, oh, make it more fluent, and then you see like you go like this and you see like a little break in the fluidity. You're like, no, I need to fix it. Like, I really need to get rid of that, because if you don't do that with any of the lines, it'll never show. It's about consistency. Consistently. So if you'll be consistently inconsistent, you won't see it. I think.
Unless,
you fix
it
one, you
must
have
be
to
like a
fix
splash artist or something.
Yeah,
It
Actually,
needs
I
to be
think
perfect.
people like
Right.
the traditional drawings more because they don't have that perfection. You know, I think it's about not being perfect.
but then again,
Right.
I also want to say, if you're doing things for your own and you're having fun, and that's your way of having fun, do it. Right? Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Just fun. At the end of the day, if you don't have fun, at least a little bit of fun,
It becomes
then
a
you
painful
fucked up.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
It becomes
I mean,
a negative
yeah.
experience.
And there's going to be weeks where you don't have a lot of fun, but try to find a little bit of fun, be it in the sketching, be it in doing the research, being whatever it might be. Like, get
Yeah.
yourself wired to have fun doing unfun things. It's possible, but it's
I wouldn't even call it unfun things, you know. Like when I was a kid, I used to watch science shows, you know. So
Right.
like the thing for me was learning. So as long as I'm not doing the same thing over and I know like it looks like I'm doing the same thing over and over again because I only do vehicles, or at least mostly do vehicles. But
Yeah,
the
which those
fact is like,
animals that from a while ago.
yeah, in like if you focus on a subject, there's so much to learn in the same thing. And animals like are also a huge inspiration, man. Like there's so much to learn that I don't know how anybody could be bored doing this, you know? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something that doesn't get in my head. Like if you are pushing polygons or pushing pixels, you know, like yeah, that gets kind of boring.
A colleague of mine is notorious for pushing polygons. Like, for Adrian, he sits right next to me, and I just fucking go like, Adrian, stop it, and he's like, no, I need to put the polygon. Adrian, no, stop. It's like, okay. Like at certain points, it's like it's a running gag right now within our team. It's like, Adrian, are you done with the thingy? And he's like, yeah, almost done.
Yeah, one more polygon and I'm done.
Polygon pushing again. It's like, no. Yes.
Those inside jokes are the best.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
man.
Oh,
I
man,
just-
I
we have
guess
some
that's the spirit.
Yeah.
offensive
What was some of your like biggest struggles at Guerrilla Games? Would you say, or is it?
Ooh, that is a good question. In my first half year, I was a dick. No, not that much. But I wasn't.
Just right off.
Some personal issues going on as well, and that doesn't excuse everything. And it was also very much felt like I really needed to prove myself. I was thrown into this environment with all these fucking amazing guys. I was stubborn as all hell. I really needed to switch my mentality around, and I needed to go on my face about that a few times. And then I was very happy that it was told to me, like, hey, and this is not like I'm making, I don't know, like for being the most mean person ever, but it was just that edge of, hey, you gotta watch out with that stuff. And that was really hard. And I think one of the hardest things to balance, which is also a part of that, is learning when what fight to take and what not to take.
To know yourself
You're going to be
better,
working
I
with
guess.
other people. You're going to be working with people that are much more experienced than you. Doesn't mean that they're always right. But if you feel super strong about something, that also doesn't mean that you're always right. And picking those fights, picking those battles, I think that was one of the harder things to learn. Still learning it. It's really hard. But I think it helps if you're just friendly with everyone. You can get more stuff done. You can sneak by more things.
Right.
I think it was one of
And
the
also
hardest.
like maybe going with an open mind, right?
Yep.
Because you just got like a huge opportunity, so maybe you think you're like hot shit, but in reality,
Yeah, for me it was more like the other way around. I really needed to prove myself. That was the idea. I still have that, but that translated in being too headstrong about just the wrong things. I think that's the way to put it. But I had nice people to teach me, and after the first half year, I got to do it again, and then I turned it around. They said, it's not my words, they said, And afterwards they wanted to keep me. So I think I eventually got better. And now if I look back at what the things I did, like a lot of those things I'm not proud of. The way I handle things. Now it sounds like I'm the most horrible person ever, but it felt like I could do better. That was one of the harder things for me, I think. And just getting... It's a professional studio. Things are done the way things are done. And sometimes you don't agree with that. That's okay. You have a lead. If you can always say, like, hey, but what if we do it blah, blah, blah. Lead still says, no, we do it my way. Okay. Sometimes you gotta go with that. That's just how it works. Pick your battles. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think that should answer the question. I don't know.
So
yeah, I guess like you matured, you know. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, I hope
It's
so.
not like you were a bad person. I don't think you were, like, from we speaking before that, like through internet, right? You didn't come off as a
as
a
an
bad
arrogant
person.
guy or anything
And
like that.
making
Well,
mistakes is not being a bad person, you know.
No, definitely.
Like that's the
But
thing.
also letting that go, like learning, like, okay, I could have done this better. Now we got to do it better. Like, and just go like, okay, it's fine. We fucked up. It's good. We'll just restart.
Exactly.
Like,
As long
that's
as you
also-
learn from the mistakes.
Dude,
Yeah.
the ability of admitting that you fucked up, it's something that's, I feel like it's rare nowadays, you know. But like it's the most I don't know, important thing in order for you to actually move on and surpass any difficulties that you had or any personal issues that you had, you know.
It's very stoic.
Like, you are not attached to the past, actually.
Yeah.
You are
True.
becoming a new person.
True. But yeah, it can.
That starts to get very philosophical, but
Yeah, no, but it's true. The bad thing is if it still holds you down, because sometimes people don't forget. I don't think I had that experience, but I'd imagine people have that older experiences could linger on people and therefore influence the way they see you now. That is a very hard thing to come past, I think. I don't know. It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
Dude, I just wonder, what do you have fun with? Like, we were talking about having fun earlier and all that stuff. What do you have most fun with when you work
I
when it
just
comes
draw
down to
gigs.
concept art?
No,
like what kind of themes? Like, let's say, do you prefer more like hard surface or organic stuff, creatures, characters,
Oh,
architecture? I don't know.
More organic stuff. I'd say I like flowy lines. I like swoopy swoops. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
like flowy lines. I like flow. I like rhythm.
you
I
always
like
did, man.
swoopy swoops.
I remember those weird baby like
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that you were
exactly.
drawing like way back when.
That stuff. I like that. It can be a little gross. I also like doing cliche things, but just giving them just a little bit of a twist. And I also they called me the fish guy because I drew a lot of fish. They have a lot of swoopy lines. What can I say? Yeah, they have perfect swoopy lines. And now I made a big frog, so now I'm a big frog guy. But that's kind of how it goes. I mean, a colleague of mine
Those
just,
also have big swoopy lines.
yeah, which also have big swoopy lines. I don't know. I think that's something I like, and I also really like when I'm so I don't know if you guys have ever seen the general concepts for props and whatever that Guerrilla makes. Generally, they're insanely detailed, like the stupid. Like, we're not even gonna see this directly on the model because it's just too much. I love that shit. I like when I get to that point of making it pretty. I'm gonna make it pretty. I'm gonna put the little rust stain right next to the part where there's a little dimple because there's water that filled in and it like seeps in, and you get a little bit of more discoloration, and this material reacts in this way to the different material, and those kind of things, like the mini things that I have to go through Wikipedia for 3 hours things. I love them. Not always, but when they're there, that's also something I have a lot of fun with.
I remember the challenge from our station. It was feudal Japan, I think, and you did like
Yes.
a bunch of props, and even dude,
Those
even,
got me hired.
even his hard surface had like swoopy lines. You know, it
I like-
was all organic,
okay.
very flowy. It's not a bad thing. It's awesome actually. I was inspired by that, and I checked it again recently. I was just looking at a hammer that you did, you know.
Oh yeah, I like the hammer. The hammer
it's-
is a nice flow.
it's nice to go through the whole process of the sketches, and to see.
Oh man, it looks like I spent time on it. I had to rush so much because I was doing this challenge while interning, which is also just working at Guerrilla. And I was also doing a school project, so I had to push this out. There was just like how long is it? 2 weeks, I think, or a month? No, I think it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of.
I don't remember exactly. Yeah.
And I just had to push him out. So I wish I could have spent more. For example, you see that boulder, that rock thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually just the thumbnail upscaled. It's like it's an uprest. It's an
but
uprest
it works,
thumbnail,
right?
and I replaced the most obvious.
Nobody needs to know, man.
Nobody knows, man. It does the job, right?
It worked,
You
but
just cut that part off.
I had to do that like in an hour last minute, and you can see because it's the weakest one. But yeah, I like those little things, like those little details.
Yeah, I think I saw there are like some pieces that don't have like as many additional sketches with them, and I just thought, hey, what happened here? Did this take like was this faster to make, or was it easier, or just?
I mean, so sometimes you just hit the perfect thing, right? Sometimes you get lucky and your first sketch is an immediate hit. In work, it almost never happens, but it does happen sometimes. Like I've made props for Forbidden West, which you will one day see, hopefully, maybe, that were just like the first sketch was randomly seen by art director. Art director went yes, and just everything was a one-hitter quitter. Sometimes that's like a super legendary thing that happens like 3 times a year. It's great. Usually it doesn't. But sometimes you need to, right? Sometimes you just need to call it. It's like, yeah, okay, this is the best what we can do with the time that we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's another important thing, like people, of course, that for personal work, I think quality should overcome anything. But the idea that in a studio you have to work with time, so it's the best up until like that date. Yeah. Like keep yourself tight to that,
Yeah, and so sometimes like, the time will go over time, and sometimes we just need to call it. And sometimes you're gonna be frustrated by the fact that this one thing is not important and it got so much more extra time, and this big thing we had to rush. That also happens. It's super frustrating. It's something to talk about to your lead or your planner, but it's still gonna happen regardless. That's also something I need to learn, and just like, it's okay, it's good. We'll get it next time. That also happens. You can't be perfect, and it's a hard pill to swallow at times. Even when you think you're Mr. Professional, you can do it all. You probably can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never got that feeling. Tell me how it is. Mr. Professional.
Sure.
The thing is,
I don't know.
the thing is, you can also train yourself, right, with your personal work to work under those conditions with tight deadlines and all that stuff. In fact, I think that's how I started. Actually, after I figured out the concept art possibility, I just started to kind of simulate that I had like some art director telling me to create this character that works with this weapon and this object and this environment and stuff like that.
Yes.
And
I also teach kids that make an imaginary brief or an imaginary art director beforehand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down.
That's it.
What is your story? Why are you doing this?
I feel like a lot of people think they have to be in the studio environment to act like a professional, but they can do it themselves with like some friends or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll tell you a secret. People in studios are also not professional. It just looks that way generally. Like it's just like a nice corporate shell, and there's a whole bunch of bullshit inside, but it works. It's generally more organized, but it's still, there's a lot of bullshit going on. And we're working in the game industry, guys. Yes, it's fucking bipolar shit. You have low.
It's fun and awesome, but then it has like
But it's also it's a rough job at times. But we're still making games, so it's really important to keep a little bit of that fun. And I've seen colleagues of mine just not necessarily a Guerrilla, but like in general, people that do this just rot away because they can't keep that little bit of fun. And that's
because they can't keep it.
Mental health is important, man.
Oh, so they were not having fun.
I'm glad like we're still so young that we haven't got to that point where we are just like bitter and sorrow about everything.
I've had my experiences in the past, not necessarily at Guerrilla, I mean, but in general in life, so I know what to watch out for. That helps. But yes, so we have this Dutch saying, and it's like an accident is hidden in a very small corner. That's to say, like something bad can just happen, you know, and that's also the same story for your mental health. So keep track of it. Like it can sneak up on you.
Yeah, if everything turns to a negative experience, I mean, and there's no way for you to kind of turn it around, there's no way for you to have fun. I don't blame those people, man. It's awful, right? It's also
it's really
sad.
hard to get out of.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think also it's important to understand, like, if it comes to that, you need to look for help. You know, being able to recognize that like you are not in a good spot.
But that's hard.
And you are ruining it for yourself and for other people. I know that's hard. You know, like that's.
You guys are talking about the burnout, right? Or the stress. Yeah, because I know like a lot of those studios have like those crunches that they have like towards the end of a game or something. Like a lot of people like sleep under their desks. That's what I've heard. They're like.
I can't really comment on how that is. I think Guerrilla is generally, what I've heard from other colleagues that have worked at different studios in different countries, is said that Guerrilla is doing a very good job when it comes to that. Still, it's the game industry. It's going to happen, but generally it's doing pretty well. I can't really comment on that because I don't have a lot to compare it with. I don't cry too often, I guess, so no, I'm just kidding. I think it's
Only after a couple of beers and he's alone at home. He's, you know,
I mean, I've been
bad.
alone for a year almost now, so no, not even a year. But
I mean, I can get to understand the crunch thing. You know, if it lasts for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, but as long as it doesn't like become like the norm, like a habit, like every single day of the year is crunch time, right?
I mean, our team is notorious for basically always being in mini crunch, because I think we are on the most constant deadlines because it needs to go to outsourcing basically. A lot of other things, they get mega crunch at the end. We get more continuous crunch and then a few mega crunches, but way before the end. Generally, gotta watch out what I say and don't say.
When crunch time comes into play, you better be having fun with the project, right? Because that kind of helps sometimes. Like, I don't care about the crunch, you know, I love this project, but then
you better have fun where you live.
Because if you don't, like, then you're totally fucked, you know.
Yeah, I guess you get like a good way to face crunch. It's like when you are having fun and you don't even notice like the time passing, but then someone around you say, hey, you are working too much, but you are like, no, I'm not working, like I'm having fun, I'm just being paid for that.
But if someone else notices it, something's up. I can tell you that much. I've experienced it multiple times now with myself and with colleagues. The moment colleagues mention like, hey dude, maybe you should take a day off, because if they're noticing it, something's going on. And as I said, it will creep up on you. Definitely after crunch, and you think, I took a day off. It's like, no, take a week if you have it. Like, just you need to keep it in check. Better be preventive than fixing.
Yeah, so have that accountability.
So you don't stand out or something from the rest, or what is it?
No, just like if they're noticing it, it's already in effect, and you need to just take a break before it goes to shit.
Oh, I see. That's
that's
a very
nice. Harsh way to say it, I think. And of course, it helps if you know your colleagues personally, because if they know you personally, it's much easier for them to see.
They understand. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean,
that's nice,
random programmer from table 5 is not going to tell me that because I don't know him. But the people
your
right
closest
next to
connections.
Yep. Which is another reason to keep in touch even when sitting at home and getting to know people.
That was interesting to hear, actually.
We've touched.
I was not even like
topics.
thinking about people of work talking that you were working too much, you know. Because
neither.
I think those people, they kind of are on the same boat as you, and they will tell you because like you end up, I don't know, they will notice more because if you're on a crunch, you spend more time with them. But yeah, man, that's something to think about, actually.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like keep it in mind. Like even if
You know,
you
like
think
one
I'm
good thing coming out of the podcast, it's good.
yeah, but like even so also for yourself, like next week you're sitting at home, you're working, and you think like I'm doing well. Are you really? Are you really doing well? Do you sleep well? Do you eat well?
Oh, that question, man.
Take a
That's
double
always
check.
deep.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh,
how are
yeah.
you?
it can just
Good,
fly
man.
over your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely.
How are you really? You
How
know,
are
it's
you
like,
really?
oh, it gets
That
deep.
way-
How are you?
I'll sneak up on you. Trust me.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Like I don't have a lot of experience with work, but I do have a lot of experience. Trust me on that. With these kind of topics, take a break before it's too late. Just watch it.
Mhm.
It's easier to prevent than to fix.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And just recently, like, I hit up these guys about, I was like stressed out during the week, and like, it's good to have like company to talk to like, through these problems you're going to. Also, it's like
Yeah.
therapy, like having therapy sessions with your friends. Like,
Just talking does a lot.
yeah,
I'm just
it
wondering,
helps.
do you think, aside from the physical aspects of this, there's a point where it's too late for real? Like it's really too late.
In what way?
I'm
You
just
need to get
saying, like,
started.
yeah, no, I'm just saying in terms of outworking your, burning
okay.
yourself out. You know, like.
I mean, you're not dying
heard
when you
of-
get a burnout, but
No.
it'll-
I mean, if you clearly see, or maybe you see it, you notice it, but don't really pay attention to it. Maybe some physical problems that you're starting to have, maybe back, maybe wrists, maybe I don't know, whatever, right? But then aside from that, like in terms of your mindset and everything, how that thing affects you, do you think there's really a point where there's no turnaround, or
there's always a turnaround. It's always a fix, but it gets harder progressively, and the effects will definitely linger on you for a while. I've had a colleague had a burnout somewhere else, and he for a very long time he had basically a problem where his entire body was so used to making adrenaline, like I'm not a biologist. I'm probably explaining it very badly, but his body was so used to being in stress that for probably a year afterwards, when he was recovered, he still had problems with just instant fatigue because his body was so used to making to being stressed, to like, oh no, we got to do things, and it was just like
Well,
he
yeah,
got
the whole
tired by just
chemical
doing nothing.
process. Mhm.
Yep,
Scary.
it was
The body.
Yeah,
balance.
maybe he was not like functioning anymore without those substances running through his body.
kind of, yeah, and it got him really tired really quickly. Like he could just be like drawing for 2
Oh,
hours
man.
and he couldn't do much more anymore. He was just done, as if he'd been working out all day. That kind of feeling.
All
told me.
right, that definitely answers my question.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I hope I'm
yes.
not going through that.
It's scary.
Like, I mean, a little bit
Yeah.
less, but yeah, there's long-term effects as
Hmm.
well. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna turn on my light.
Sure,
Getting a
sure.
bit dark.
No problem.
Just like thinking about that. It's like, oh boy. Just the times that I'm stressed out, like, I hope I never have to, like, sometimes when I'm in a period of working really hard, I do get some sort of adrenaline rush, especially if it's late at night when your cortisol levels are, like, kind of high. You go into, like, overdrive. It makes you, yeah.
Sometimes to get things done, but
Yeah, it's
I guess
bad.
like at the end of the day, it's getting to know yourself, right? A lot more and understand yourself and get the sign, like the signals of what's happening with you.
Yeah.
That's something
Sometimes
that-
you aren't even aware of it. If you're, like,
Yeah.
in the zone.
When do you guys
So-
work
true. I
better?
guess
Like,
that's also good-ish. I don't know the flow. I
So,
forget
yeah.
to eat a lot and drink a lot. That's the main problem, but that's probably known to you guys as well.
Yeah, that's something that I actually never do. I never forget to eat or forget to. These guys, like, they know it, and it gets the time of a meal. Like
mean,
it's plenty of times where I like took
Yeah.
brunch, took
Andre's
lunch
pretty
while
strict
they
with
were
that.
on a
Yeah.
call. So
I
guess that's something that's like helped out.
for drinking, I definitely have it. I forget. Like, shit, I need my whiskey. No, I'm just gonna no for water. I just need to drink more water. I'm just
Okay,
running
so-
out of alcohol alcohol
You know,
joke.
if anybody
Yeah.
knows Glenn, send help. He needs it.
Send help. Hey, I can stop whenever I want.
I got this, guys. No,
I can stop whenever I want. What time is it? It's 9 in the morning. Okay, excuse me.
There was actually okay. It's a very unprofessional thing, but it was a thing. After my internship at Guerrilla was over, and I had to go back to school for one more year to finish it off. I knew it was gonna be shit because I had to work with just random people that don't have the same strength in their goals. I don't know how to say this. Anyway, your general art class people that just took the class because art. And they sent me off with like a smaller, nicer whiskey and a somewhat cheaper, like bigger whiskey, and it was like a goodbye present. Really nice. So the nice whiskey, I of course like kept it for nice moments. It's like, oh, a little bit of whiskey. But the cheaper one, I just for the first 2 weeks at school with my new team, that was, well, we had to work for like we had to work for something. The school assigned us a team. Those people were complete drama. Like they were nice, but they were, oh my god, it was like a comedy series. We got the hippie guy. We got this. We got that. We got all the flavors of crazy people. Basically, I was probably a part of it as well. I can't say much about myself. Anyway, first 2 weeks, every morning, just in my coffee, just a shot of whiskey, just every morning before school. And then when the bottle was empty, I was like, I should never ever do this again in my life. That is dangerous. But it was good.
I'm glad you found out that.
Yes.
That's when you realized.
And I never did it again. But for the those weeks,
Oh,
they were really
I
bad.
guess like
From Guerrilla.
while you're still young, it's something like to find these things out. Like if you're 50 and you've been doing that for 30 years,
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like
it's
different
a
conditions.
completely
right?
different problem.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do that otherwise. I try to stay pretty professional. But for that team, I needed to take the edge off. Never did it again.
Nice, man. I guess like we'll have to bring you back sometime to talk about a lot more stuff, man. I feel like we could be talking for hours,
Yeah. I mean,
You
I
have-
had fun.
You have a lot of different experience from like what I had, so it's quite interesting to learn
Yeah.
what it is on like other side of the world.
It's good to hear the studio side of it too,
Yeah.
from
Definitely.
Yeah.
someone our age.
Dude,
Yeah,
we've been
yeah,
talking about a lot of stuff
I'd be
actually.
able to talk to you guys again as well.
We've been covering lots of topics.
We have.
Yeah.
I definitely had a lot of fun, and well, if you guys want to ask something else before we go, just feel
Favorite
feel free.
color?
This is the dude. This is the moment.
Favorite fish?
But yeah, to the audience, like just feel free to drop any questions in the comment section.
course.
Subscribe over here somewhere on the screen. I don't know where it is.
Put all the links in the
Yeah, do all
description.
that. all
You
that
know how to
subscribe
do
stuff.
it. Comment, subscribe,
Yeah.
do all of that.
Smash the
thing,
like
yeah.
button.
Hey, Adrian,
Smash.
plug my art station as well.
Oh right. So
We
tell
will
us,
leave
Glenn,
Put it all
where-
over our faces.
Where can people find you online?
Where can people find me online? Well, you can find me at www.pornhub. No, I'm just kidding. You can find me at
All right, it's a double live.
No. Artstation.com/Glenn Greek YVD.
We will leave you a link for his art station on the
Just-
description and
Google
Instagram
my
and all
name.
of that.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
Google my name.
okay.
You'll probably find it. I don't have crazy cool names like you guys do everywhere. So yeah,
We just have our names and that's it. That's when I realized it was actually better to have my real name back on the handle.
Dom can do cool things with his last name though.
Mine's
Oh,
a pun of my last
Who says
name.
he's not doing already?
I can't do that.
Yeah. So
Oh, wait, think about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
it was really cool.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Glenn, for
Yeah.
coming by.
It's nice
Thanks
to meet you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys as well. Hope I didn't talk too much. I tend to do that.
Oh well, that's kind of the
Oh,
point,
I guess
right?
that was the good part about it.
That was the good part, yeah, indeed. So yeah, we just hope to see you guys in the next episode. Until then, just keep rocking, stay creative, and have a good time. See you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks for having me.